Verses 40 to 44. Their neglect of him and his doctrine, you will not come to him, that you might have life. v. 40. You search the scriptures, you believe the prophets, who you cannot but see testify of me, and yet you will not come to me, to whom they direct you. Their estrangement from Christ was the fault not so much of their understandings as of their wills. This is expressed as a complaint. Christ offered life, and it was not accepted. Note, first, there is life to be had with Jesus Christ for poor souls. We may have life, the life of pardon and grace and comfort and glory. Life is the perfection of our being, and inclusive of all happiness, and Christ is our life. Secondly, those that would have this life must come to Jesus Christ for it. We may have it for the coming for. It supposes an assent of the understanding to the doctrine of Christ and the record given concerning him. It lies in the consent of the will to his government and grace, and it produces an answerable compliance in the affections and actions. Thirdly, the only reason why sinners die is because they will not come to Christ for life and happiness. It is not because they cannot, but because they will not. They will neither accept the life offered, because spiritual and divine, nor will they agree to the terms on which it is offered, nor apply themselves to the use of the appointed means. They will not be cured, for they will not observe the methods of cure. Fourthly, the willfulness and obstinacy of sinners in rejecting the tenders of grace are a great grief to the Lord Jesus, and what he complains of. Those words, v. 41, I receive not honor from men, come in a parenthesis, to obviate an objection against him, as if he sought his own glory, and made himself the head of a party, in obliging all to come to him, and applaud him. Note, 1. He did not covet nor court the applause of men, did not in the least affect that worldly pomp and splendor in which the carnal Jews expected their Messiah to appear. He charged those whom he cured not to make him known, and withdrew from those that would have made him king. 2. He had not the applause of men. Instead of receiving honor from men, he received a great deal of dishonor and disgrace from men, for he made himself of no reputation. 3. He needed not the applause of men, it was no addition to his glory whom all the angels of God worship, nor was he any otherwise pleased with it than as it was according to his Father's will, and for the happiness of those who, in giving honor to him, received much greater honor from him. Their want of the love of God, v. 42 I know you very well, that you have not the love of God in you. Why should I wonder that you do not come to me, when you want even the first principle of natural religion, which is the love of God? Note, the reason why people slight Christ is because they do not love God, for, if we did indeed love God, we should love him who is his express image, and hasten to him by whom only we may be restored to the favor of God. He charged them, v. 37, with ignorance of God, and here with want of love to him. Therefore men have not the love of God because they desire not the knowledge of him. Observe, first, the crime charged upon them, you have not the love of God in you. They pretended a great love to God, and thought they proved it by their zeal for the law, the temple, and the Sabbath, and yet they were really without the love of God. Note, there are many who make a great profession of religion who yet show they want the love of God by their neglect of Christ and their contempt of his commandments. They hate his holiness and undervalue his goodness. Observe, it is the love of God in us, that love seated in the heart, a living active principle there, that God will accept, the love shed abroad there, Rom 5:5. Secondly, the proof of this charge, by the personal knowledge of Christ, who searches the heart, Revelation 2:23, and knows what is in man. I know you. Christ sees through all our disguises, and can say to each of us, I know thee. 1. Christ knows men better than their neighbors know them. The people thought that the scribes and Pharisees were very devout and good men, but Christ knew that they had not the love of God in them. 2. Christ knows men better than they know themselves. These Jews had a very good opinion of themselves, but Christ knew how corrupt their inside was. Notwithstanding the speciousness of their outside, we may deceive ourselves, but we cannot deceive him. 3. Christ knows men who do not, and will not, know him. He looks on those who industriously look off from him, and calls by their own name, their true name, those who have not known him. Another crime charged upon them is their readiness to entertain false Christs and false prophets, while they obstinately opposed him who was the true Messiah. V43 I am come in my Father's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. Be astonished, O heavens, at this. J 2:12, 13, for my people have committed two evils, great evils indeed. First, they have forsaken the fountain of living waters, for they would not receive Christ, who came in his Father's name, had his commission from his Father, and did all for his glory. Secondly, they have hewn out broken cisterns, they hearken to every one that will set up in his own name. They forsake their own mercies, which is bad enough, and it is for lying vanities, which is worse. Observe here, 1. Those are false prophets who come in their own name, who run without being sent, and set up for themselves only. 2. It is just with God to suffer those to be deceived with false prophets who receive not the truth in the love of it. 2th 2:10, 11. The errors of Antichrist are the just punishment of those who obey not the doctrine of Christ. They that shut their eyes against the true light are by the judgment of God given up to wander endlessly after false lights, and to be led aside after every ignis fatuus. 3. It is the gross folly of many that, while they nauseate ancient truths, they are fond of upstart errors, they loathe manna, and at the same time feed upon ashes. After the Jews had rejected Christ and his gospel, they were continually haunted with specters, with false Christs and false prophets, Mt 24:24, and their proneness to follow such occasioned those distractions and seditions that hastened their ruin. They are here charged with pride and vainglory, and unbelief, the effect of them, v44. Having sharply reproved their unbelief, like a wise physician, he here searches into the cause, lays the axe to the root. They therefore slighted and undervalued Christ because they admired and overvalued themselves. Here is, first, their ambition of worldly honor. Christ despised it, v41. They set their hearts upon it, you receive honor one of another, that is, you look for a Messiah in outward pomp, and promise yourselves worldly honor by him. You receive honor one. You desire to receive it, and aim at this in all you do. 2. You give honor to others, and applaud them, only that they may return it, and may applaud you. Pedimus dabimus facissum we ask and we bestow. It is the proud man's art to throw honor upon others only that it may rebound upon himself. 3. You are very careful to keep all the honors to yourselves, and confine them to your own party, as if you had the monopoly of that which is honorable. 4. What respect is shown to you you receive yourselves, and do not transmit to God, as Herod. Idolizing men and their sentiments, and affecting to be idolized by them and their applauses, are pieces of idolatry as directly contrary to Christianity as any other.